This is the Sri Ramana Maharshi Satsang, a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself and be always free and at peace. Welcome, I'm Richard Clarke. I'm not a guru or a teacher. I love Ramana's teaching, so I want to share it. I'll be reading from and commenting on the Ashtavakra Gita, chapter 10, verses 1 through 4. In these verses, Ashtavakra speaks of quietude. Ashtavakra said, "Give up desire, which is the enemy. Give up prosperity, which is born of mischief and good works. Be indifferent. Look upon friends, lands, wealth, houses, wives, gifts, and all apparent good fortune as a passing show, as a dream lasting 3 to 5 days. Where there is desire, there is the world. Be firm in not attachment. Be free of desire. Be happy. Bondage and desire are the same. Destroy desire and be free. Only by detaching from the world does one joyfully realize self." Let's explore these verses where Ashtavakra speaks of quietude. 10.1 Give up desire, which is the enemy. Give up prosperity, which is born of mischief and good works. Be indifferent. This verse emphasizes that desires are the root cause of suffering, labeling desires as enemies. The tendency to desire arises from misidentifying oneself with the body and mind, thinking that external objects bring happiness. For example, if you identify as the body, you might believe that material wealth and pleasure provide happiness. This misidentification fuels the desire for prosperity and material success. By recognizing that true happiness lies within the self and not in external achievements, you can address and resolve these tendencies. Practicing indifference to transitory things helps shift focus from external gains to inner peace. Understanding that desires stem from misidentifications with the body and mind is crucial for spiritual growth. By realizing that true happiness is found within the self, you can overcome the tendency to seek fulfillment in external achievements and material wealth. This shift in perspective allows you to practice indifference, reducing attachment to worldly desires. Embracing this teaching leads to inner peace and contentment, free from the constant pursuit of external happiness. This transformation fosters a deeper connection with the self, deepening your spiritual practice and moving towards lasting liberation. Look upon friends, lands, wealth, houses, wives, gifts, and all apparent good fortune as a passing show, as a dream lasting 3 to 5 days. This verse urges you to see all aspects of worldly life, relationships, possessions, and successes as temporary and fleeting, like a short-lived dream. By recognizing the impermanence of these experiences, you can detach from them and reduce suffering. This perspective helps you stay grounded in the eternal self, which remains unchanged amidst the transient external circumstances. Addressing and resolving the underlying tendencies that lead to attachment is key to maintaining this detached outlook. Otherwise, you will continue to search in the world for your happiness. Understanding the temporary nature of worldly experiences can greatly enhance your spiritual practice. It is key. By seeing relationships, possessions, and successes as transient, you can cultivate detachment and focus on what is lasting, the eternal self. This detachment helps you address the root causes of attachment to reduce suffering and foster inner peace and stability. Embracing this perspective allows you to navigate life with a sense of balance and equanimity, unshaken by the fleeting nature of external gains and losses. This deepens your connection to the self and leads to lasting contentment. 10.3 Where there is desire, there is the world. Be firm in non-attachment. Be free of desire. Be happy. This verse points out that desire is the root cause of worldly existence and suffering. It emphasizes the importance of being steadfast in practicing non-attachment and freeing yourself from desires. By addressing and resolving the tendencies that give rise to desires, you can attain true happiness. Practicing non-attachment allows you to break free from the cycles of worldly longing and dissatisfaction, leading to genuine contentment and liberation from suffering. For those on a spiritual path, overcoming desires is crucial to achieving true happiness. By practicing non-attachment and addressing the root causes of desires, you can liberate yourself from the endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. This liberation leads to self-knowledge and to a state of genuine contentment and peace, independent of external circumstances. Embracing non-attachment helps you experience life more fully, free from the constant pursuit of desires. This shift in perspective fosters a deeper sense of fulfillment and a closer connection to the self, deepening your spiritual practice. 10.4. Bondage and desire are the same. Destroy desire and be free. Only by detaching from the world does one joyfully realize self. Ashtavakra equates bondage with desire, teaching that eliminating desire leads to freedom. True joy and self-realization come from letting go of worldly attachments. By understanding that desires bind you to suffering, you can work towards detachment and ultimately experience the joy of self-realization. Addressing and resolving the tendencies that give rise to desires is essential for achieving liberation and inner peace. Recognizing that bondage and desire have the same source is crucial for spiritual growth. By focusing on eliminating desires and addressing the tendencies that are their root causes, you can break free from the chain of worldly attachments and experience true freedom. This detachment from the world brings the self-knowledge that allows you to realize the joy and peace of connecting with the self. Embracing this teaching transforms your spiritual practice, leading to deeper fulfillment and liberation. As you work towards detachment, you move closer to experiencing the profound joy and peace of realizing your true nature as the self. The verses from the Ashtavakra Gita emphasize the importance of giving up desires and attachments to achieve inner peace and self-realization. They guide you to view worldly experiences as temporary, encouraging detachment and fostering a deeper connection with the eternal self. And now a video from Nome, Peace of the Self.
Silent being is the nature of yourself. It is the only self there is. There are neither a multiplicity of selves outside of yourself, nor is there any multiplicity within your own existence. Silent being is itself liberation, which is one's natural state, which is entirely free from bondage that is only imagined. Clarity of knowledge regarding your own being is such liberation without a trace of bondage. It is happiness, the bliss of the self, without the possibility of suffering. In the immense, immeasurable silence of being, of Dakshinamurti, of Sri Bhagavan, there is no obstruction to bliss. there is no misidentification and no confusion regarding reality. In this silence, there is the certain knowledge that the reality alone ever is, and the unreal never is. That is, the one self alone exists, and there is never anything else. The Maharshi's peace and equanimity are always undisturbed. That peace and equanimity that are undisturbed are due to knowing bliss and bliss as oneself. Thus, complete detachment from the unreal. They are also due to knowing oneself. Hence, no confusion of the self with what is not the self. The same perfect transcendent detachment or equanimity is due to knowing what is real. Happiness, identity, and reality are truly one and the same. When you search for happiness, you search for yourself. Whenever the mind has the thought, such and such is real, this is so, I know this. That is to say, in the entirety of the mind's play and all its permutations of thought, there is the searching to know the reality, which is your own being. All the time, everywhere, one looks for oneself. Yet all the time and everywhere, you are yourself only, and nothing is missing. In the absence of knowledge of the self, the conception I appears. With I, there is this. With aham, there is idam. I and this. And between those two poles appear all the experiences of illusion. I and this, or we may say I and what is mine, my experience, my thoughts, my perceptions, my body, my world, and so forth and so on. The Maharshi has said, and it is also stated in an Upanishad, that bondage is characterized by the notions of I and mine. Ahankara, mamankara, I and mine. Absence of I and mine is liberation. From what is it liberation? It is liberation from all the imagined bondage. Because your real being, vast and silent, unborn, imperishable, is not an individualized entity, an embodied entity. And as for the mind part, the non-objective alone is real. What appears as if objective is not real. It is only a misperception of what is real. So then, in truth, as far as the I is concerned, no one has been born. And as far as this is concerned, the this aspect of one's experience, nothing has been created, For the unborn, there is no creation. All wisdom and all peace, therefore, depend on the knowledge of who you are. Suffering and bondage are constituted only of ignorance. Ignorance is composed only of misidentification, not knowing oneself. If the self is known, there is nothing else to be known. Reality then comprehends itself. What is realized then is existing all along, for the real ever is, and the unreal never is. Therefore, inquire, just as the Maharshi has directed, as to who am I within yourself. Abandon any misidentification with what is regarded in illusion as I and mine. That is, abandon the false identification of yourself with the body, with your senses, with any kind of thought constituting the mind. Indeed, even with the very notion of I, the assumption of existing as an individual entity. When you abandon such, you're only giving up imagination. The knowledge of the self does not give you a different nature than you had before. It simply reveals what is the case. And what is truly the case is that your very being, the only being that you have, is in nature the Absolute, Brahman, the one undifferentiated, unborn, imperishable, real self, that is not divided as among many, for we are not bodies, and is not divided in itself, for you are not the mind. To determine for your own experience how what is being indicated this morning is the truth about you, dive within yourself. Inquire, who am I?
And now we will take some time to do what Nome said, to dive within ourselves and inquire. You exist, and you know that you exist. Notice that you exist, and notice that you know you exist. And inquire, investigate within yourself. What is just temporary? What is always? Let go of what is temporary and focus on what is always. Can I hold on to things that are transient, that keep changing? What can I hold to? Can I see life as a passing show to help me detach and find a deeper peace? Who is watching this show? How can I achieve detachment and realize the joy of the self? Who am I? All right. To our chants. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Now these verses seem to me to be particularly key because it sure seems clear that as long as I am have attachments and seeking pleasure and satisfaction in the world, that I'm still not going to get very far.
Just keep dreaming.
Yeah.
That's right. Just keep dreaming.
3 to 5 days.
Uh-huh.
It seems like an odd amount of
Right.
time.
I wondered why he picked that interval.
It's all a flash.
And it's still dealing with the tendencies are so much at the root of real spiritual depth. One of the things I really appreciate is finding out about Nome's story, and that for him, the thing that brought him to where his experience was always was dealing with these tendencies.
Yeah.
And that is a thing that he teaches that I think to a large degree is not taught elsewhere. Ramana talked about it certainly through all of these things. He didn't focus on it, but he certainly said that, you know, what stands in your way from the first time you have any deep experience to final complete realization are the tendencies.
Vasanas.
Yep.
And so turning within more and more strengthens the sattvasana.
Yes. Yes. I feel Sattvasana right now. So thank you, and we'll see you next week. Have good inquiry.
Thank
Namaste.
you, Richard. Bye.
In 40 verses on reality, Ramana Maharshi explains the nature of the self, the ultimate reality, and self-inquiry. My new book, with my comments and inquiry questions, opens these teachings up and brings them into your practice and experience. Available now from Amazon. Link in the video description. These videos bring Ramana's teachings into your direct experience. Click subscribe to see more. Click thumbs up to like, and send questions and start a dialogue with a comment.